Good evening. Thanks for coming out. Mark Stansbury here, board member of the Columbus Institute of Contemporary Journalism, or as we like calling it, Free Press, Columbus Free Press. Long history. We've got folks that were around when they were beginning, and it's great seeing them still around and active, and we keep on going. So this is our annual award event. Some folks thought we might not need the sound system, so I think we should probably have it. I mean, not against anybody, but it is always better to hear what we want to say and say what we want to hear, right? So just talking and sort of going like that doesn't help us to understand what we're talking about, right? So we're here as a community tonight. Thank you for coming out. This is fantastic turnout. We were not sure exactly how everybody was going to come out. I guess everybody knows where Mozart's is, and this is a great facility. Please come back and eat here. It's a great facility. We have a full agenda tonight, and I'm not going to talk much at first. I just want to make sure that folks understand that Columbus Free Press is always looking for folks to write about critical and current issues. So please get yourselves a pen and paper and put it down on the sheet of paper, okay? And give it to Suzanne. Like Becca, where you at? That speech today, where we were today, was with Julian Assange. We had a Julian Assange Solidarity March and rally today. And her speech was fantastic. It needed a post on something. Great. And we joined folks from around the world. There were like 350,000 people surrounding the Parliament in London today. Just so you know, they're gaining support for this young man. That if you talk about free press, this man is what is it's epitome of. I mean, we got other folks that are also facing concerns as well, but he's epitomizing what free press means. And we have to be standing up for folks that are trying to bring the darkness down, the shadow over people, however you want to say it, the secrecies that the government wants to put over top of us. He never released anything. I'm telling you this right now. He did not release anything that anyone outside the United States did not already know of what the United States was doing in Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay, so we were the ones in the shadow. We were the ones in the clouds. So we were not told. We were not allowed to be told what was the truth. So enough of that. So Esther Flores is going to help me introduce our award winner tonight because she was our last year's award winner. And her work is so astounding that I just want you to know that my words could not even replicate what she does. I mean, when you're out there on the street doing what you're doing, talking to the folks that are in deep distress, sociological distress, personal distress, the whole deal, and she brings comfort. She is aid and comfort totally. And so, Esther, I want you to come on up and let everybody hear your voice. And you talk about a little bit of your work, and then you can introduce our special guest tonight. Okay.
I do have a nonprofit. It's named One Divine Line to Health, and I'm not going to talk much about it because it's very emotional, you know, and I could be here all night and tell you all the stories, even just this week, that happened while we were out on the streets. But today we're going to be celebrating my buddy. His name is Joe Motil.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe. And I had like, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's kind of funny because we have some similarities, and Joe has been a friend, also an emotional support, especially when I dealt with a lot of opposition, because if you believe in true justice or if you're a social activist, especially for the least of these in our city, you have to deal with some issues. But one thing I do want to say that, you know, we look at Libby Gregory. I've done some research because I had to know about her last year when Suzanne mentioned, the award. She was a woman who had no filter, which I like. She posed hurtful acts that were purposely done to the least of these in our city in her times. And guess what? It's still happening today. She advocated for equal rights for women, healthy eating habits, individual creativity, healthcare reform, and a peaceful world where humans with differences coexist. Libby was a free press editor who believed, like our current leadership at the Columbus Free Press, the importance of Americans, citizens, to practice their First Amendment. I respect and support the Columbus Free Press. She knows that.
Yes.
One thing is that I like to make sure that I can express myself because sometimes I'm not going to mention other newspapers here. They'll kind of reword things that really doesn't mean what you're trying to say. So you don't have to be politically correct at the Columbus Free Press. That's why I love the paper.
Yeah.
I respect and support the Columbus Free Press because we live in a world where disruptive honesty is unpopular and disruptive stupidity goes viral in social media. It's disruptive honesty, which Mr. Joe and we believe in. Sometimes we're labeled as crazy people. We don't know what we're talking about. Hello, we live in Columbus. And we see what's going on, some during the day, but I see a lot of things that happens at night. I prefer to call myself holy crazy. Honestly, I believe in God, and I have to believe in God because I'm still alive. I do a lot of work on the hilltop, but I also operate this Love Bug Street Outreach, and we cover the other hot zones in our city. So we cover the Four Corners, right? Which covers a lot of people. Okay. Joe Motil and Gary Whitty, who I also love. And by the way, he is a board member, and his wonderful wife, who's up there. We know what the struggles are. We work with women, we work with children, we work with transgender individuals that we serve with love, with dignity and respect at One Divine Line to Health. They are second, third, and no-class citizens who are homeless, who are being victimized by a failing system that disregards the voice of the frontliners, who are compassionate, who meets them where they're at. Joe is a family man, an advocate. He is a no BS type of a guy. He's not dumb. He is not dumb. That's why we lead. He's not dumb. And this is really important, okay? And I'm not his campaign manager, all right? We need to be citizens. This is very important. Not to vote for someone because they belong to a political party, okay? We need to look at someone's altruism, their experience, their love for Columbus, the city, the people. One who works, who has worked in the front lines in different capacities. That I have some issues with our mayor. I don't call him Ginther, I call him Mayor Gentrifier. But I do believe that with Joe, his disruptive honesty, he has a good mindset, and we need to look at people like him.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Martin Luther King said, we need to be making decisions, right? People shouldn't be judged by the color, it's about the content of their character. What matters right now in our city, really, okay, is that we need to look at what's happening in the White House. It doesn't need to happen in our city here in Columbus. We need to speak truth. We need to stand for liberty. We need to help the poor. We need to help our kids. And like Libby, we need to have a place that is safe for people to be educated, a place where people can have access to healthcare, where our kids can grow and be kids. So I stand here to say, Joe is not only a friend, he's a colleague, he's an activist. He is truly a social justice advocate, like some of my gangster friends who are here. And we should consider,
Censor.
no, I don't want to censor him.
Mentor.
Okay.
Mentor.
We
Say
should-
difference.
Okay.
I'm babbling.
No, I'm done. I'm almost done. So we need to consider a truth teller, someone who would speak on our behalf, someone who's a change maker. Joe Motil, please accept this award. Come over here, my angel. Isn't she so beautiful and red? God bless him. God keep him safe. And one thing I love about Joe is he believes and he lives up to his goals. I love you, buddy.
So Joe, you only got about an hour and a half, okay?
Please, I won't do that to you. I mean, y'all know I've been at this for, I think, 37 years now. So I could probably go for an hour and a half, but I'm going to try to keep it short as I can. And thank you, Esther, so much for the kind words and the support. I mean, that's very helpful. And I guess I'm going to start, like, my involvement really began like on South Campus when I was renting an apartment, believe it or not, on 8th and Hunter. And I met some guy who happened to have been Cleve Ricksecker, some of you guys know, and at the laundromat and on Worthington Street. And Cleve asked me if I recognized what was going on with these two houses that the siding had just been torn off of them, like with wrecking bars, and it had just been installed maybe a year or two ago. And apparently what had happened was one of our favorite landlords in the area, Talbot, who owned hundreds of units in the university area, he hired some guys to basically vandalize these two buildings so it could justify tearing them down so he could build like a 12 unit apartment building. So this is what he did. And I mean, these are perfectly fine homes and doubles and stuff. And he got away with it. But so anyways, Cleve, was asking me, hey, would you help us to fight this thing and so forth and so on. So I actually went with him. And at the time he was married to Barb Cooley, and she was the director of landmarks during that time, Columbus Landmarks. So anyways, I went down to the Beacon building up on one of the floors to talk to this development guy and, said, yeah, I'm opposed to this, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of where it got started. And then oddly enough, when I bought my first house on East Oakland Avenue at 33 East Oakland, Barb and Cleve lived right up the street from me. I mean, at 75 or something. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So we ran into each other again. And so I really started getting involved in the university area when I lived on East Oakland a lot. Improvements. I applied for a grant with the city of Columbus for High Street improvement, putting in some planters that got destroyed by the college students. Of course, they were located between Patterson and Northwood. I helped get our Northwood Park area put on the Columbus Register of Historic Neighborhoods. And it kind of just snowballed from there. Got on the area commission for 3 years, saw what that was all about. That was to come to that. But I got to learn about the developers and zoning and all that good stuff that, we need to all really understand and so forth. But so anyways, when watching what was going on in the area commission and just the give and take, and mostly the give to the developers and stuff. And I go down to council meetings and I'm like thinking, why are you people giving in so much to these developers? And why aren't you putting your foot down and up their butts? And it's like, and I would write letters to like Ben Espy, Cynthia Lazarus, and all those who I really liked, good council members back then, who I think listened and weren't in the pockets as much as they are now, our city council members, the mayor. But so anyways, I thought the only way I'm going to make real change is I sit in one of those 7 leather chairs up there down the council chambers. And in 1995, my good friend of mine still to this day, Judge John Marshall. Some of you probably know Aaron. John is his father. They lived up the street from me on East Oakland. And he was the first candidate I ever worked on a campaign for back in the 90s when he actually got defeated by somebody. But regardless, I asked him, I said, what am I getting into? I have no idea. 95, I think I'm 41 years old or something. And he explained it all to me. He said, you're going to piss off a lot of people. And because I was running against Lisa Griffin, who was the selection of John Kennedy, who was council president then, and Lasheka was mayor. And so the Republican Party, I mean, they still had power in Columbus. And they selected Peggy Fisher to run for city council. She was just like a housewife. Nobody really knew except for people in the Republican Party. And she won. And I got 11,000 votes. She won by 8,000. So Mark went up for me. I was like very proud of the fact that that was the last time an incumbent lost a race for city council. And I raised like $4,000 and got 11,000 votes, which was pretty remarkable, to be honest with you. And so from there, some of the party people thought, well, maybe this guy's got a future, through the Democratic Party. And so I wanted to run for state rep in 96 in my district against E.J. Thomas. And they said, no, we can't do that. They endorsed a kid that was 18 years old going to Worthington High School. At the time, the district was 70-30 Republican. Okay. And so they said, Rich Cordray was the committee chair. And so I talked to Rich and he said, Joe, just wait, you'll get your turn will come. That turn. Your turn will come. Yeah. So in 1998, my turn, it came. They said, we're going to endorse you. And I had to fight for that. There was a group of Democrats that tried to take away my endorsement or not get me endorsed. I won't mention their names, but
Who were they?
one was a former congresswoman, Democrat. Anyway, it was a coup basically, and I got Jennifer Bruner was the chair of the committee at the time, and she was supporting me 100%, my endorsement, and so they voted on it. I got endorsed, and I got like 41% of the vote, and they were shocked. And I said, I told you people I could have won. EJ was being term limited. That's when term limited started in 1998. It was his last term. My intention was to run again in 2000, and had my name recognition, did very well. And they wouldn't. I got some money from the Democratic Party and some unions and stuff like that, but I think I raised like $10,000 or something. I didn't get hardly anything. And so they were shocked. Nobody had ever gotten 41% of the vote, except for one candidate from Worthington. Her name was Michaels, I think. She was a councilwoman. Used to be a councilwoman. But yeah, and she raised like $250,000 and still lost. And to DJ. So anyways, 2000 comes around and I'm getting ready to run, and my buddy, and I say he is my buddy, Mark Hatch, he was president of the school board. He decided he wanted to run. So we ran in the primary, they endorsed Hatch, and sampled out, kicked my butt, endorsed. So it was about 2 years after that, I said, I've had enough of this crap. I went to the dark side where I am now. It's
the right side, Joe.
I want the dark side. I have to say the dark side because Eileen Paley, she's the one who coined that phrase for me. She said, Joe, you went to the dark side. And I said, Eileen, I love it there. And that's where I'm meant to be. And because I just, like many of you, I wasn't about to sell my soul and my integrity and do what they wanted me to do and run when it's your turn. And you should be running for school board. Because you need name recognition and so forth and so on. So I'm just going to mention one more race for it. I'm not going to go through the whole, all this stuff. But so 2003, Bob and I both ran for the city council primary, and I really didn't know Bob very well. We knew of each other, and to be honest with you, I was like the free press and the activist people from that time. They knew of me, I would say, but I wasn't real involved with them. And I had fought like the Pickerton Ponds new development, but Harvey was real involved with that. I fought the Darby Creek, Darby Creek development as well.
Yeah.
And Morse Bethel Connector, I was very involved with a group called PEER, Progress for Environmental and Economic Responsibility. We fought that twice in 98 and 2000. So, I was all over the place, just like I am now. I was like, we're all right. The voters against stadium taxes in 97 when we fought and beat the voters turned down the arena tax that was Shutka and Kreidler, and all of them were trying to run down our throat. And there wasn't a plan B. And all of a sudden, McConnell comes up, oh, we'll buy it. We'll pay for the arena. But there was never going to be a plan B. It's either it passed or there wouldn't be an arena. And everybody knew it was a damn lie, and it was. And so, but anyways, it was one of the best combined efforts to defeat anything because there was Republicans, Libertarians, Green Party, Democrats, so you name it, everybody was against this thing, and it was very well organized. And hell, we raised maybe $5,000, but it was, we defeated it 44. I think it was 54 to 46%. And so it's a huge victory, but unfortunately, we own the stinking thing now.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, getting back to the Libby Award and such, I knew Libby and didn't know her real well, but I used to go to trade winds when it was on High Street. They had the best card collection in the world. And I bought all of my cards there, Christmas cards and Laurel and Hardy cards and you name it, they had everything. They had all the hippie clothes, kind of. I had one of those parkas that you wore, of course. Yeah, and the tie around. I bought my scented candles there, and then she moved over to the King Avenue coffee shop, and they had the Byzantiums there, the beach shop, and the same stuff sold. There was a door that opened up into the King Avenue coffee shop, so it was all one thing. I got to play piano there. They had a piano there, so I would play piano there. Light jazz was what they coined my music as. You got to hear a little bit, but so I enjoyed playing music there, and so I knew her from those things. And in terms of the free press, I probably got turned on to the free press back in the mid '80s, and that's when I lived on East Oakland, which is about 4 blocks from Monkey's Retreat on High Street next to Stash's. And I would go in there, and they always had a stack of the free press right there, And so it was like, that's when I started reading it. And I'm reading this, this paper I don't really know a whole lot about, and all these articles about the news you don't read about.
Yeah.
Everything that you want to know about that you never hear anything about. And thank God for the free press and some of the writers that they had. And correct me, Bob or Suzanne, if I'm wrong, like Charles Ross, he used to write from Ohio State, and Joe Widener used to write a labor news thing. I remember I was always interested in being retired from the labor's union and such, but some really great stuff and satire and so forth, the comic strips. And so that was your go-to newspaper to find out really what was going on in the city of Columbus and in environmental issues, and all kinds of social and economic justice issues. And so I kind of grew up with that kind of stuff, and hanging out in Monkey's Retreat, stuff like that, and of course, but just a great time. And so I guess let's see here. Oh, and other alternative newspapers, The Guardian, Columbus Alive. And I mentioned the other paper, but I only mentioned it because I wasn't a huge fan of some of the reporters and some of the stuff because, to be honest with you, I think some of them were in bed with city council members and stuff. I know they were actually. One of them actually worked for the mayor, so that tells you one thing. Dan Williamson, I might as well mention his name. He was pretty sad, and it's kind of a. He used to say some things about me because he wasn't exactly for the little guy that was coming up, and somebody that had different ideas. He was more about putting them down than anything else. And so he was trying to do council in the mayor favor, and he was pretty much in bed with Coleman. I got to stop there. I'll probably mention all this in my memoirs, but I'll have to be dead because I'm afraid my kids will get sued for what I'm going to put in there. And they won't be able to make any money off of it either. It's going to have to go to a nonprofit or something.
Okay.
So, but anyways, again, accepting this award is pretty special because the free press has really had a specific influence on my activism, and it's helped me to really give the courage to speak out and really to speak the truth. And that's what it's all about. And I especially want to thank certain people, and I already did mention John Marshall, but when I got started in '95, I had strangers reaching out to me. I didn't know who these people were. They wanted to see Lisa Griffin lose. They couldn't stand her because she she was Wexner's little girl, and she was Edward's little girl. She was in bed with the developer, big time. Everybody knew. And she had a consulting company business that she got a huge contract with the airport during our race, getting paid $165 an hour back in '95.
Wow.
And she actually had to turn it down because she caught so much flack from the dispatch, believe it or not. And so she turned it down after she had it for a while. Because we got in her face big time, myself and Peggy Fisher for accepting it. But anyways, she was another, just in bed with the developer, city councilman. So these people, at the time, Total Mall was being built. And so the people that lived up in that neighborhood, they were really pissed off. They didn't want that to be built. And then there were people in Plain Township, which is outside near New Albany, and Wexner's land, and they wanted to merge with New Albany. New Albany did one with Plain Township. Plain Township didn't want to merge. And so, and Lisa was the face of opposition. She was the consultant for Wexner and for Tuttle Mall. So she was the face of evil. So the people hated her. And these people reached out to me from Plain Township and Tuttle, and I'm like, yeah, they want to help me. So I'm like, sure. So, and I had a guy, he was deep throat, just like, swear to God, like Watergate. He would not tell me his name. He called himself Sam. This is Sam, Joe. How you doing? And just called me on the phone. The kids would answer the phone. They say, Dad, it's Sam. And it's like, it was hysterical. And I'd never met him until probably like 3 months before the election. He told me who he was and stuff. But he taught me how to write a press release, and he taught me to have guts and say what needs to be said. He would write stuff and say, Joe, this is what you got to say. And I'm like, are you crazy? It's like I do now. And he would tell me to say this stuff. He goes, if you want to get your name in the paper, this is what you got to say. And the people from the dispatch, they were actually questioning me and say, who's helping you? And I'm like, what do you mean? I said, who's writing this stuff? I said, I am. I said, they knew somebody was, writing this stuff for me because I didn't know how to research this stuff and everything. This guy taught me how to research. He taught me how to look where the money was coming from. He taught me everything about the corruption, the connections and stuff that you hear me connect together. And he taught me to do my homework and be factual about what I say. Because as long as you can back it up with the truth and you can show the people, this is what's happened. This is why this is taking place. These are the people behind this. And you can prove that, you're legit, and yes. Esther mentioned it, it's like, I know what's going on, as crazy as you think I might be, I've made a mistake or two in the past, and I'll actually admit to it. I said, yeah, I made a mistake here. I said something I shouldn't have, or there was a figure wrong or what have you. But, that's what it's all about. And if you can back it up, you need to say it. And he was somebody who really helped me with that. Former Councilman Maury Portman, he actually supported me in my 1995 city council race. And the paper knew it, but they would never print it. They all knew it. He was supporting my campaign, invited me to his house. He actually came to my election night party at the Southern Hotel in a suite, and right down the hallway, the Democrats had the big ballroom. And Portman shows up, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I got pictures of him with talking to me and my mom and such, but he came to visit me, and he helped me raise money. And so Bill Moss in 95, he also, he was running for mayor in 95 when I ran for city council in 95. He was running against LaShutka because the Democrats couldn't find anybody to run. So Bill ran, and I, had a relationship with Bill. They actually put Bill and I in the back of a car, sitting on the back seat in a parade together because, of course, we were the two troublemakers. So they teamed us up in the parade together, and it was great. But he invited me to his home over there in Franklin Park and stuff. And I used to visit him at his campaign headquarters on Broad Street and such. Jerry Doyle, some of you remember, Barry Edney, two people that they used to go down to council and they would just raise hell. Jerry would wear his pinstripes plantation or jail outfit. He'd hand out literature about living on a plantation. And I mean, you talk about people that had guts and went down there. This is like 2000, mid 2005, yeah, around there. And those guys, they were something to listen to. And it's because of them. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that's why we got some of the rules down at council where we only allowed 3 speakers and things like that, 3 minutes and what have you, and only 2 agenda items, because they would go up there as often as they could, and they would let them have it. So those 2 people I have a great deal of respect for. And I want to finally say, and Bob Petrakis. When I would read what some of the things Bob would write in the Free Press and many of you read, it was just like, this is the way it is. This is what you got to do. If you got to speak the truth, and Bob has done that, as you all know. And so I appreciate everything Bob has done for this community. And again, I just want to thank everybody here and all the activists and everything that you do, that we all do together as a team. I mean, we all have our own, areas that we strive for and try to help each other. But I think we all help each other. And I couldn't do it without your support and your help. It keeps the juices flowing for me. And it keeps me knowing that as long as I have people behind me, I'm going to continue to do this. And, I always tell people, I said, one of these days I'm going to get out of this, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know about running for office, but when it comes to, just being outspoken and such, it's very difficult for me to keep my mouth shut.
Good.
Yeah.
It is.
I almost spoke an hour and a half.
Thank you, Joe. Mayor Motil, please. Mayor
Yeah,
Motil.
that's right. I if you want to sign my petition, it's up there. I always carry it around. So, yeah.
I first met Joe when he was involved with Tuttle, and I work for Rec and Parks. I do work for Columbus. I am a city employee. I'm public, that whole thing. But Joe was very deep involved with one of the centers we were with, and I would go to a meeting. I would hear him say stuff. I was like, whoa, okay. He's challenging the authority that is out there, and I've been, you don't know my work experience, but anyways, I'm always in the hot seat. But anyways, I want to make some announcements real quick. Benjamin is coming next week here, so please come check her out at the Northwood Building. She's got a book tour going on, making sense out of the senseless conflict that is called Ukraine.
Yeah.
So she'll be here at 6:30 this week, this coming Saturday, next week, at the Northwood Building, which is right there at Northwood and High Street. So please come there. And then and that's October 15th, but just the day before that, October 14th, is down in Athens, Ohio. We're opening up a cannabis museum, which please grab one of these flyers and you'll have all the information you need, okay? Mary Jane, I know I wanted you to have a little bit of space of what she's been doing down at General Assembly and some other folks.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here. And I just want to mention, I was the 2019 Libby Award winner. I don't think there was a 2020, was there?
It was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they skipped the year, but yeah, I was 2019.
We did it totally on Zoom. It was totally like Suzanne and Bob were there, but Adrian is another hero of Columbus. So.
Oh, good. All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, my beat is cannabis, and I've been doing this for 20, 40 years, depending upon how you count them. And my kickoff for doing it in Ohio was where? The Columbus Free Press. My first article was published in 2002. So it's been all over 20 years. I think I'm on article 98, which will be published in about a week, hopefully. Suzanne, please. The biggest developments in cannabis. This week, you may say what you say about the Biden, and there's a lot to say. But at least we're looking at possibly a window into moving cannabis from Schedule 1. And I think it's importantly, if not more importantly, we're releasing prisoners, about 6,500 people who have a simple possession. And those are gonna be the- That is huge. And the process that he's using to do that sounds very much like the moves he should take to remove cannabis from Schedule 1, hopefully be scheduled altogether. That's really where we want to go. That's the most important thing going on. State house wise, I'm a medical marijuana patient. I have a medical marijuana card. I'm a cancer person who used cannabis to successfully treat my cancer 2 years ago through a thing called Simpson oil that is purchased from the program. So I personally, some people criticize the program. I get that. I'm a big fan, particularly since thanks to Bob, thanks to Suzanne, we were the people that helped put pass HB 523, which created the advised medical marijuana program. We did ballot issues. You guys saw with assistance. And so now I think that part of your portfolio should be, yes, we help legalize cannabis in the state of Ohio. That was my goal and was with your help. And then I guess the only thing left to say about it, there is a bill called SB 261 that expands the current program that is before it passed the Senate. It's now before the House. That is our best hope for reform this year, that it passes in the lame duck. The initiate statute that you might have been hearing about, that's we collected signatures. That's going to go before the legislature at the beginning of 2023. We don't know where this is going. Hopefully this time next year we'll have it on the ballot. Better still, hopefully it'll pass the General Assembly. We won't have to go that far. Anyway, thank you so very much for everything you've done for me.
We do. I'm gonna do a quick thing here.
Thank you.
I do want to let you know that we are blessed with one of the sisters-in-law. Guess what? We have a future Supreme Court person in our business right now.
Yeah.
So I wanted her to at least talk a little bit, please, Ms. James.
Yeah, right. I'm always in your business because I show up on Zoom. But I am here because all the way down through my career for the last 10 years, I've been supported by Bob and Suzanne. Started out, got on the ballot as an independent the first time. And so I don't know if they've ever had any other judge elected as an independent in Franklin County, have they, Bob? Okay, so I'm one of those.
Yeah.
One and only. So I ran because I believe that justice should be equal for everyone. And throughout my experience as a criminal defense attorney, I wasn't seeing that when I'm traveling around the state. So I ran because I believe that justice should be equal, justice should be fair, the door should be open, access to everyone. Congratulations, Joe. I thought I was going to be on Zoom tonight, but I'm glad to see everybody in person. I know a lot of you. Oh, am I on Zoom? Oh, being at home on Zoom. But I made a special trip here. I've been in Cleveland all day. I'm campaigning for the Ohio Supreme Court. As you know, if and when I win, we will have a Democratic majority on the court. And that'll be the first time, I think, since the mid-80s. And it's critical because redistricting, the first map has already been rejected that they submitted for 2024. So if anybody thinks this is not a critical race that I'm in, they're very much mistaken. If they continue the way they're going with the reapportionment of the districts, and we don't get someone there to review those maps, we're looking at a repeat of 2022. So it's really critical. The other thing, as you know, that's coming up, the redistricting affects our voting rights. It dilutes our power of our vote. And you know, we have fought hard to have equal vote, to have an equal voice, and it's critical that we make sure that we vote this year. Yeah. The good news is, since June, when the Dobbs decision came down and overturned Roe versus Wade, 90,000 people have registered to vote in Ohio. Critical. 11 women to every one man has voted, has registered to vote. That lets us know we still got a lot of votes out there that aren't registered. We got a lot of voters that don't know that it's time for them to exercise their voice. So it's critical that we get them registered, that we get to those people that have been purged and may not know they're purged, because you don't know until you show up to vote. It's not like they send you a letter and tell you you've been purged. They just purge you. And that's been found to be constitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court, that they can purge. So we have to be careful about what we're voting for. Another issue that's on is issue 1, where they want to take from the Supreme Court the right on bail and bond. Now make sure you read that really close. I don't know, Bob, if you've talked about it yet, but there's an issue going to be on the ballot that will take authority from the Supreme Court over bond and bail. And that's in response to the DuBose decision, where the Supreme Court said that public safety could not be the only issue that they target when they set bond. So that's a response where legislature now wants to take authority from the court. So all of these things are going on, and it's critical this year. If you think democracy is not hanging in the balance, it's hanging in the balance this year. We know that they are looking at a bill. You know, Clarence Thomas, in his concurring opinion to DuBose, said that they should look at Griswold versus Connecticut. Griswold versus Connecticut is a case that established the right for families to use contraception. If you're not looking, look at what's really happening now. They're trying to take us all the way back to things that we already fought a victory over. Right. They've already overturned Roe versus Wade. They're pushing that down on the states. That's a state issue. There was a injunction granted in Cincinnati on the 6-week abortion ban. So we know that that's coming. And where's it going to come? To the Supreme Court. All of these things are coming up, and that's what we're looking at. That's what we're fighting about. That's why we're out here. Jennifer Bruner is running against Sharon Kennedy for Chief Justice. The Chief Justice seat won't change the balance of the court, because there's a 6-day window when the current governor can appoint the replacement to that seat. So that's not going to change the balance at all. My race, Judge Zayas is running against Pat DeWine. I'm running against Pat Fisher. One of us has to win for us to have the majority on the court, so that we have people looking at these maps, looking at the things that affect you and you and you and you, that are going to come before the court. I'm Judge Terry Jameson, and I thank you for your time and opportunity to be here. Bob, if you want to talk about issue 1 more, I'll get with you so that you can talk about it, because it's on the ballot this year. They're interfering with the balance of power. We are 3 equal branches of government, and legislatures trying to infringe on the judicial branch. And if they do, we know they have a supermajority in the House and Senate. So if they decide to pass a law that they can try to handcuff the judiciary, that's going to be a problem for all of us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Judge. And if you don't think one person can make a big difference on the court, just listen to what Judge Brown, this Supreme Court Justice Brown just said this week. Just this week, her first week.
Yeah.
I mean, she's going to rock that court. And just one person, she's going to be in the super minority, yes. But she's rocking that court. And Judge Jameson's going to do the same thing. So please, if you've followed her career, you will know she'll be for the people all along. We do have, speaking of courts, we do have 2 court attendees that are about to happen, and I want you guys to continue to pay attention and keep your ear to the street on this. Gary and Joe are facing criminal trespass in the municipal courts because of what they did in support of housing in Columbus, Ohio. They set up camp in front of Hardin and again, what is it? Flores color? Zach Klein. Okay, Zach Klein, the city attorney, and Shannon Hardin, the president of city councils. They set up tents. They set up a camp, and are charged with criminal trespassing. So we need to follow that case and show up when we need to. And please tell us when you want us to be there. Okay. So justice is out there. Pat Morita wanted to speak a little bit about some other issue on nuclear issues that are going on in the Ohio General Assembly.
On issue 1, we got no on issue 1. Okay. And I want to give big kudos to Joe Motil because he's been around and done so much to fight what's going on in the city. And I chaired this as a volunteer, chaired the Central Ohio Sierra Club for 9 years back in the early 2000s, and we dealt with the city back then. And the city was dumping raw sewage, 3 billion gallons a year into the Scioto and Olentangy rivers. And the Ohio EPA, they just looked the other way. And so we took legal action, and we got a consent decree to have the city have a remedy to stop the sanitary sewer overflows, to stop the combined sewer overflows, and to stop dumping raw sewage in at the wastewater treatment plants. And there had been a $10,000 fine for each sanitary sewer overflow for each day, $10,000. And they probably had dozens every day, and they never paid a single penny in fine. So anyway, they ended up paying $250,000 the first fine. And of course, they couldn't use it for sewers, so they used it to study taking down the Fifth Avenue Dam. And so at the end of all of this, they ended up paying at the time the dam was taken down around $5 million. And then Ohio State University, bless their hearts, they did the right thing for a change, and they put in about $6 million, and that's how that dam got taken out. But the city had kept on annexing more and more territory, taking in more and more sewage, and just dumping it because they had no way to deal with that. But the developers, hey, they were making a bunch of money. So anyway, I work on nuclear issues now, and I want to talk about House Bill 434 in the Ohio legislature because it has already passed the House. And I've got some information up here. I'd love it if you would take one of these. Every family take one of these because it's got a lot of information. You don't need to memorize everything on here. But this bill is to promote nuclear. The thing to remember about nuclear power that really is the main thing that people listen to is the cost. And the fact is that nothing nuclear, whether it's, of course, weapons, that's 100% funded by taxpayers. But the power is also largely funded by the taxpayers. And now Wall Street won't invest a penny. And so everything you see about this nuclear renaissance, every bit of it is going to be subsidized by you and me. And now this is a little different. Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Closer.
This is a little,
There you go. Yeah.
okay.
That's good.
I have a booming voice anyway.
We all think.
So, yeah, so House Bill 434, it is, well, we call it a Ohio giveaway to a secret cabal. Now, it's not really a cabal, but they have reached in to the pockets of Ohio, which is different because most of the subsidies for nuclear are all federal. So that's what's different about this. And it's just a small group of people, actually, from eGeneration up in Cleveland, and they got Representative Stein to sponsor this bill. And it's already passed the House. And in fact, a similar bill passed the House in the previous legislature. And it went to the very last day of the legislature when the Senate committee was trying to pass it and get the Senate to pass it that afternoon. But they didn't have enough votes in the Senate, so they didn't vote on it. This bill has gone from 56 pages down to 14 pages. And 8 of those 14 pages are about how to keep this bill, the administration of a new Ohio agency. They call it an authority and not an agency, but the authority. There's one other authority in Ohio, and it's listed as with the agencies. So this would create a whole new agency, and the 8 pages are about how to keep it in-house, secret, away from the public. So this, we won't even know who all's will have an idea who's getting the money, but we won't know what's going on with nuclear, where exactly where the money is going, what's supposed to be for research. We don't know what'll get built. And of course, nuclear is dangerous. Yeah. It's much more expensive than wind and solar. And it takes years to license and build a nuclear reactor, at least 10 years. And probably you're talking 20. Solar and wind are ready to go right now. So we need that energy. So in closing, on the back of this, you can write a letter and you can use it 6 different ways. Yeah. Because they're going to wait until into the lame duck. And that's when the Senate Committee on Energy and Public Utilities is going to vote for this. So we need everybody to write their senators and call if you can. And this is 6 different ways you can write a letter and use it. And if you go online and look up the Ohio legislature, then you can find the name and the contact information for your senator. So you don't even have to know now who it is. You can find it by using your zip code. So do that, write a letter, take one of these up here. And also I'm now volunteering with the Ohio Nuclear Free Network. So we are Ohio's nuclear watchdog. We try to keep track of Ohio's 3 nuclear sites, which is the Davis-Besse reactor east of Toledo on Lake Erie, the Perry nuclear reactor, which is east of Cleveland on Lake Erie. And what most people don't know about is the Portsmouth nuclear site in Pike County, where they enriched uranium for many years, and they're still. It is the site now for nuclear weapons development. It's going to be one of the big national sites, and people in Ohio don't know about it. So sign up here for the listserv of the Ohio Nuclear Free Network, where we love to have people join us in this. So and take one of these, and thank you.
Thank you for all your work. Some of the work that they're doing down to the state, they have brought the $60 million fiasco corporate corruption case to the fore. I mean, some of the work that they're doing. So without some of that work that our folks are doing down at the General Assembly, the former Speaker of House could have got away with $60 million pocketing of a pocket of a paper that was pretty strong there. But we brought that to attention. And actually, Ohio First Energy's CEO had to step down just recently because of the pressure that is being put upon them. So public pressure is very important. I do want to now move a little bit. I mean, do you see these beautiful cartoons up front here? I don't know if we want to call them cartoons, but they're political statements, animation. But we have the creator of those here with us, luckily today. Clay Jones is going to come and talk to us a little bit. Mimi, Mike, from the very beginning of Free Press, we've always had sort of satirical cartoons along, right? It's always been that thing. Clay is the new what we've been using lately. And I just want to introduce him to our community and let him speak a little bit about what his work is, about what he wants to get through with what he's trying to do. So you good to do? Thank you. And he warned me that he's been at another facility earlier, and so he's going to just remember this is a Saturday evening, so we're having fun, okay?
What he's trying to say is I had a couple of drinks before I got here. Okay. I did not know I was going to speak tonight, so this was thrown at me. So I don't mind. My name is Clay Jones. I live outside Washington, D.C. And the Free Press has been running my cartoons for how long now, Suzanne? 2 or 3 years? 4, 5? And this year, I'm 56 years old. I started cartooning in 1990, and I won my very first National Journalism Award this year. Then I won another one, which really surprised me. But I'm trying to make a point with this, not so much about how awesome I am. I hope this is too close to my mouth. Is it? I was going to say something nasty, but I stopped. But my point is that with one of these awards was the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Award. And they normally don't give this award to liberal cartoonists. I am a very liberal cartoonist. I accept the fact that I'm more liberal than most people. You see people on CNN or MSNBC, liberal commentators, and they tell you, I know who's going to win this next election. It's the liberal. Everything is like, they think everybody's as liberal as they are. I accept I am more liberal than most people. I also accept I'm a white guy who's liberal, more liberal than most people. But the thing that I'm very proud of about winning the Robert F. Kennedy Award is because it's a human rights award. And I have dedicated my career to focusing on human rights, civil rights, equality, especially for people who do not look like me, a white male. I mean, I look like a Donald Trump supporter. Come on, right? I mean, that's horrible. But except for the interview, yeah, they don't wear shoes. I'll be here all night. Try the bill. Where was it? But anyway, the thing is, but my entire career has been focused on civil rights. And a long time ago, I actually thought I was a conservative, but I also thought supporting gay marriage was a conservative viewpoint, stuff like that. I thought being against an amendment against flag burning was liberal, you know, because I thought that was, I thought that was conservative. I mean, if you let people burn the flag, isn't that conservative? You do whatever you want. It's a piece of this free speech. Isn't free speech conservative? No, not anymore. It's liberal. Human rights are liberal, civil rights are liberal. Women's rights are human rights and civil rights. The right to choose abortion is a human right. That's civil rights. That's not a luxury. That's not a privilege. And you cannot listen to these white male people who look like me tell you otherwise. You know, men, people who don't have vaginas to tell you how to regulate those things. You know, we should not be allowed to do that. And this is why, as proud as I am for winning the Robert F. Kennedy Award, this very same reason is why I'm so proud to be a part of the Columbus Free Press.
Yeah.
It's not that it aims to be a liberal publication. It aims to be a publication that is on the correct side of the issues. I can't say the right side of the issues because people misinterpret that. Maybe not this crowd. But I am proud to be in like-minded publications that understand how human beings should be treated, that equality should fit everyone. And I'm proud to stand for that and to be a part of the Columbus Free Press. Thank you so much for having me in your publication. Thank you so much for sending John out here to pick me up from another bar. And thank you for the introduction. And thanks for having me. Everybody have a great night. And wait, does anybody have any questions? I always do this, I always wing it. If anybody has any questions about cartooning or anything at all. What's your favorite color? Blue. It's not black. I actually bought this for a funeral. I wanted one anyway, because I was thinking about a second career of driving chauffeurs. Not driving chauffeurs, being a chauffeur. Oh, the other award was from the Society of Professional Journalists. It's called the Sigma Delta Chi Award. And I'm always confused if that's Chi or Chi, but I'm not sure. See, somebody lied to me yesterday. Another journalist. But yeah, I never wanted. It took me 32 years to win my first national award. But I've been to finals a couple times over the last couple of years, so they're all real close together. So I might be doing something right. I think I'm doing something right because I'm on the right side of the issues, just like you. So. Yes.
Accept it. I mean, obviously, accept it. Or are you getting more coverage or buzz yet?
From people like you, maybe like some of the awards. Oh, I was trying to know if I'm getting like, oh wow, if it's more accepted, more coverage. No, really not. Do more people want to publish my cartoons? No. Well, I'm in the Post here and there. It's been off the New York Times, but more papers are afraid of my work. You know why they're afraid of my work? Because I cover the kind of stuff that the two previous speakers talk about.
Right.
And most newspapers, it's not that they're conservative, and most newspapers in this country are conservative, even if they're not Trumper papers, because very few papers endorse Donald Trump. But most newspapers in this country are conservative, but more so than being conservative, most general newspapers are cowards.
Yeah.
Free press is not.
That's true.
Newspapers are scared of everything. We used to do a caption contest at my last employer, the Freeman Star in Fredericksburg, Virginia, where I was laid off in 2012. We did this caption contest, and I did one of Sarah Palin with her daughter with just an empty speech balloon. What did that mean? That was just for the readers to fill out. And so many complaints. The newspaper was like, well, we're going to kill this entire cartoon caption contest because people are upset. And I said, can you wait for me to fill it in before they get pissed off? Wait for a reason to be pissed off before you get pissed off. That's what conservatives do. They're a bunch of babies. They're temper tantrums every day, right? You know what I'm talking about. She's nodding. Yeah, this is what we call industry is a big temper tantrum. They got to find a brand new one every day, even if they have to make shit up, like Hunter Biden's laptop. Yeah. Next time you hear somebody talk about Hunter Biden's laptop, ask them what's on it. What's on Hunter's laptop? Nobody knows.
Wait, yeah, nobody.
It's on it. Yes.
How can we access your work on the internet?
Playtunes.com. You can also check it out at the Free Press webpage, Facebook page. But Playtunes, COAYTOONZ.com.
Tales of the Trumpster Choir.
That's the book.
That's his book. Tales, very popular. Tales of the Trumpster Choir. I highly recommend it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we have about 28 minutes before we're told to get out of here. So enjoy yourselves. Remember that there is an open, or not an open bar, but a cash bar, but they take credit cards. You want to make sure around the corner if you'd like that. Coffee. I think most of the desserts are gone. Coffee's over here. But please take some time, get to know each other. If you haven't seen somebody in a while, talk to each other. This is like the second time I think we've tried to be live since the big pandemic. We've done 3. Pete hosted a thing at his house, so that's about 3 things that we've done live since then. So we're slowly getting out of that fear of what went on with the whole society of this globe. Enjoy each other. Anybody else have any last words? Gary, you want to pray over us? So thank you. I know you would. You'll do great. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next year. Look forward to it. We are During the winter, we are going back to Zoom, and thanks to Stephen's work, we've been able to go and continue the salon. Remember, second Saturday, if you have nothing else better to do, actually, there is nothing better to do. Be here in this zone with the Free Press. We're trying to push as many current issues and current concerns that are going on. If you have any of those, please talk to Suzanne, Bob, me, Stephen, anybody that's on the board. And please, again, if any of the board members are here, please stand up. I see several of you. Please stand up. So thank you again for your work, and take care and enjoy each other for the next minutes. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Tomorrow. Okay, it's October 11th because it's probably the holiday thing. Yeah. October 11th is the last time for folks to register to vote for this election. So be there or be square. Tell every last child that you know that's 18, actually going to be 17, can be 18, to vote and register. Okay, register. You cannot vote unless you register. Amy.